Show you how to fix a horn that doesn't blow.
It's not working.
The single easiest thing to do to make a car more comfortable or fun to drive is to change the steering wheel. But a big problem a lot of people will have is if they don't spend a lot of money on a steering wheel and a quick release connector and whatever the middle part thing, they won't have a horn. So today, that's what we're addressing. This is my 1990 Honda Civic. What's really cool about this car is that I've installed a Tesla Model 3 steering wheel, and today we're adding a horn. Let's get in it.
All this is a wireless button. I guarantee I could have found a cheaper one, but this is all I could find on my lunch break. I hope I can leave it underneath my dash. We won't have to worry about putting it in the engine bay, but we'll see. Also, it runs off of 12 volts. This and this should provide 12 volts. I think. I really have no idea. It's in that packaging everybody hates. So the way that I believe this works is there is a button here that has an accessory on and off setting and a momentary switch setting. Question is, how am I going to figure out if it'll run off of this guy? You hear that? I do. She works! I feel like a genius. Alright, let's take it out to the car and see what we can do by getting it installed.
Alright, let's take her off.
Alright, because I next to guarantee none of you guys are going to be installing a push button into a Tesla steering wheel specifically, I won't be really going over how to remove this airbag. Mostly because it's not the same procedures that you do with a regular Model 3 airbag anyways, so whatever. I have removed it. I would like to show you the back, just to show you that I have disarmed the airbag. There's normally 4 bolts in here, which has the canister that causes the chemical reaction, which makes the gas that gets shot into the airbag and blows up this nice Tesla logo and stops you from dying. So I officially have made this car less safe. The goal today is this. The simple way to do this is leave everything like this, maybe route the battery to the back of the steering wheel, and then, I don't know, somehow mount it to where the button itself can fit inside this airbag cavity, because it's almost perfect. Before I worry about destroying any of this, I'm gonna see if I can just get this to work.
So we're just gonna put this back in here. The guy's just sitting there. If it does end up fitting and working well, we're gonna wire it up and I'll have it like glued in there or some shit. I'm gonna put the camera down, but these 3 poles here line up with these 3 holes here. 1, 2, 3. Let's see if I can't get this figured out. So, it is in fact now nighttime. A lot of cursing and frustration later, the guy is on there. And, well, if you push lightly, it doesn't work. But if you push hard, it works! Sorry about the video quality. It got dark on me. I went and congratulated myself with the Baja Blast. We're doing good. There are quite a few things that I've done with this car that I haven't recorded just because they were frustrating enough that I didn't really want to. I made a PVC intake, very similar to the video made by Donut Media, which you can find right here. The only problem is mine doesn't look nearly as sexy because it's white. I'll throw some photos or maybe a short video on screen now as to what that looks like, but you get the point. I also installed this steering wheel, which was a lot harder than it would normally be, typically, because it's a USDM steering wheel, and the JDM steering rack is very, very small. I thought they might made up, I was wrong. So essentially, I JB welded this steering wheel on, which is the reason why I had to struggle so hard getting this horn to work. Now that it does work, we can get into the other things I wanted to do now that I have this entire centerpiece taken apart. I'm going to be installing the JDI Ghost T. It is essentially an aftermarket push button start, except instead of it essentially hot wiring your car like a lot of aftermarket stuff does, this is really secure. Now I can't speak to whether or not a flipper will be able to read your key's information and clone that. I know that the Tesla key is unable to be cloned by a flipper. For those of you who don't know, a flipper is essentially a very small RFID receiver, transmits radio signals so you can get into people's cars, start people's cars, and it's scammer shit that you can now purchase on the internet. Whatever. All I know is I'm getting this shitty 80s Honda key cylinder out of here. In the likelihood this car is broken into, they can't steal it. And it's gonna be a lot cheaper than me paying $800 to have power lock and an alarm installed. But yeah, my next video, at least with the car, is probably going to be me installing that ghost switch. Tomorrow morning, I will get some footage of what the wiring business looks like in case you'd like to replicate it yourself. But other than that, I'll catch you in the morning.
Just gotta rep my donut merch, you know, work with your hands. As far as reviewing the product though, I think this is really solid. I think this is quite cool. The fact that, you know, you can put this really simple device underneath your hood, it gives you this switch options, you know, on and off immediately or on and then off. It's super convenient. Well, as you can tell, it is a completely different day. I'm at a car meet right now and I figured I'd get this out of the way as soon as I can. In review, it took me a long ass time to get this installed, but it was worth it. The horn works now. Being able to say that my horn works on this Tesla steering wheel inside of a 1990 Honda Civic has gotta be the single coolest thing I've ever done. That was until I installed the JDI Ghost Switch, at which point this became the second most cool thing I've ever done. Things are getting a bit hectic here, so here are my closing remarks. Follow me on Instagram. My name is gonna be No One Cares. It'll also be on screen so you know how to spell it correctly. Make sure you remember to hit confirm after you hit unsubscribe. And I'd ask you to dislike the video, but we can't do that anymore. The next video out on the channel, which should be tomorrow, is going to be me installing the push to start button on this car, further cementing it as a safe car to drive, kind of more like a Tesla. Without further ado, I love ya, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!